go. Last item on the agenda is the conditional use permit for short-term rental on West Riverside Drive.
And I just want to call attention that this is 905 half West Riverside Drive.
It's again?
Yeah,
Oh.
Half, yes. West Riverside seems to be a little weird with it's like a 903 and then a 903 half, 905 and then a 905 half. This is for 905 half West Riverside Drive. Next slide, please. This is a request for a conditional use permit to allow non-owner occupied short-term rental in residential zoning. Next slide, please. The subject property is zoned R5 within a neighborhood form district. There are 4 bedrooms allowing 10 guests maximum. There's off-street parking available in the driveway, and there are no short-term rentals approved by conditional use permit within 600 feet. Next slide, please. Aerial of the subject property. Next slide, please. Zoning context, it's all R5 single-family residential zoning. Next slide, please. Here's subject property. The Google, there's 2 big trees right in front, so I had to kind of get a side angle. Next slide, please. But then here are some recent real estate listings that give a clearer photo of the front and rear of the property. The adjacent area context, this would be if you were going down West Riverside Drive toward Riviera Drive. Next slide, please. And then this is toward Riverside Drive. So there's a West Riverside, just a Riverside, and then an East Riverside Drive. This is just normal Riverside Drive. Next slide, please. The proposal is adequately justified for approval. The existing use is residential. It's located in a predominantly residential area. Appears to meet all the standards of the conditional use permit, and there is adequate parking for the request at the subject site. Next slide, please. And your required actions will be to either approve or deny the conditional use permit to allow non-owner occupied short-term rental in residential zoning.
Didn't look like there are any questions. Thank you.
Thanks. Thank you.
Good afternoon. Will both of you be speaking?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right. So I'll swear you both in. Do you swear the testimony you're about to give today is the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Who wants to start?
Thank you. I'll start.
All right. Name and address.
Skyler Hart, 905 and 1/2 West Riverside Drive, Louisville, Kentucky, 40207.
Please proceed.
Thank you. Members of the board, hello, and thank you for your time today. My name is Skyler Hart. I'm a father, a veteran, and I work for Ford Motor Company as a robotics engineer. This year will be my 10th year with Ford at Kentucky Truck Plant. My wife, Sarah, is also a veteran. She's a stay-at-home mom to our 3 kids. She serves as an officer on the board for our school's parent-teacher organization, and she also hosts our 4-bedroom rental property in Gatlinburg, along with 2 other properties. Sarah and I have been involved in real estate together for most of our adult lives. We've done long-term, mid-term, and short-term rentals. We've done rent-to-own, we've done seller financing, and we've renovated a house that was in complete disrepair, making it a nice home that a young family moved into as first-time home buyers. So we have a strong background, and we have a lot of experience in real estate. For short-term rental in particular, we're currently in our 5th year hosting short-term stays at a 4-bedroom home that we own in Gatlinburg. During that period, Sarah has earned Superhost on Airbnb every single quarter. We have good relationships with people in the area, and both of our next-door neighbors provided letters of recommendation that are attached to our case. One neighbor lived next door to our rental personally, and that neighbor specifically mentioned always having positive experiences with our guests. We comply with local and state requirements, such as filing and paying 4 different taxes and dues every year and 2 different taxes every month. In addition to that home, Sarah also hosts 2 other properties, one of which is another short-term and one of which is a mid-term. In the years that we've been operating these rentals, we've never had the police called on one of our properties, and we've never had a neighbor bring a complaint about our guests to the HOA. we think it's fair to say that our rental hosting career has been very successful. We believe that a large part of that success is due to our booking process. We do not allow instant bookings, which means that anyone who wants to stay in one of our properties has to talk to us before we accept their reservation. While each of the booking platforms already has a policy forbidding parties, we list no parties explicitly in our house rules. We ask our guests questions to make sure that we will be a good fit, and we have rejected reservations in the past if we had a suspicion that the renter would be problematic in any way. To provide some additional information, my wife and I will be managing the property ourselves. We live 14 miles and approximately 19 minutes from the home. Many of our new neighbors already have our contact information, including both of our next door neighbors, the previous HOA president, one neighbor that's 2 doors down, and others in the community. And of course, I'm happy to provide our contact info to anyone else who would like to have it. In addition to what we've spent furnishing the home, we've also committed or will be committing a significant amount of money to addressing the concerns that were raised at our neighborhood meeting. This includes the purchase of a noise monitoring system, 32 feet of privacy lattice on the deck, exterior cameras on all corners of the home, and large numbering for the front of the home to help guests know that they've arrived at the place, at the correct place. As was mentioned, we have these 3 roads, very similar names, very similar numbering. So we'll be providing large numbering to help with that. We have typical wired smoke detectors present throughout the home. We've also added or will be adding both carbon monoxide detectors and fire extinguishers on each floor. And we've also provided first aid kits. We have plenty of off-street parking and could potentially fit a maximum of 6 vehicles between the driveway and the attached garage. We know that one of the things the board takes into consideration is the current character of the neighborhood. To speak to that a little bit, our community is already economically active. Out of around 60 homes in the neighborhood, 3 homes show up as short-term rentals on Airbnb, and 2 long-term rentals are registered with the city of Louisville. At least 1 other neighbor operates a business out of their home, and 3 additional homes are owned by LLCs or corporations. Given these factors, we feel that our use of our home for short-term rentals is fully in keeping with the character of the neighborhood. On one final note, we are aware that if we're approved today, we'll need to register as a short-term rental, both initially within 30 days and then annually, thereafter. Thank you again for your time today.
Questions? All right. Ms. Hart, would you like to speak?
I think my husband pretty much covered everything. I can just add that I'm the primary host for our property in Gatlinburg, as he mentioned, and the other 2, and I will be the primary host for this as well. And I do feel that our vetting of our guests is one of the biggest reasons that we've been successful thus far and that we haven't had any issues with neighbors or with problematic guests at all. I'm very, very thorough, and my guests will know that I live 19 minutes away. And I do feel that that helps to avoid any potential problems as well when the guest knows that you are a very present host. So we feel very capable of being able to make sure that we keep good guests in there, and it's very important to us that we maintain good relationships with our neighbors, and we'll do whatever we need to do to ensure that.
So the improvements that were mentioned by Mr. Hart, those were as a result of, to address concerns that were raised at the neighborhood meeting, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Members, any questions for Mr. or Ms. Hart? Thank you. All right, Mr. Hobbs. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Name and address, please.
Dave Hobbs, 905 West Riverside Drive.
I swear the testimony you're about to give today is the truth.
Yes.
Please proceed.
So like I said, I am the owner of 905 West Riverside Drive, which is directly next to 905 and a half West Riverside Drive. My wife and I moved into our house about 3 years ago. It's kind of like our dream home to move into. We looked at it back in 2019 and weren't able to afford it at the time. We ended up selling our house, moved into an apartment for a year and a half while looking for a new home. Couldn't find anything. The market was crazy. Everything was kind of out of our price range. We mentioned to our real estate agent that we looked at a house in 2019 and we were obsessed with it. So our real estate agent decided to write a letter to the owners of that property, asking them if they would be willing to sell the house. And they said yes. So we gave them an offer and they said yes again. And we ended up buying the house. And it has been kind of like our dream home. It's everything we really ever wanted. It has a pool. We have a boat. We're right by the river. We don't own a slip at our docks, but our neighbors have been generous enough to let us borrow theirs throughout the boating season. So when we moved in there, there was a gentleman that lived there. His name was Bob, and Bob was a wonderful neighbor. He rented the place from another neighbor, and he was phenomenal, just quiet, didn't bother us at all. If we ever had a problem or if he ever had a problem with us, he always just came over and talked to us. He was wonderful, probably the best neighbor I've ever been around. He moved out, and then eventually the house went up for sale. And it stayed on the market for I think about a year. I can't remember exactly how long it was. They weren't having a lot of luck with it. So when we found out that the house next door had sold, we were pretty excited about that, getting a new neighbor in and meeting them. We've become very close to all our neighbors in the neighborhood. I am now the interim president of the HOA in the short 3 years that we've been there. And we kind of hold all our neighbors to a certain standard. We also help out as much as we can. I mow the lot in the back of the property, our neighborhood, just to give me something to do and to make it look nice. But then when we found out that this was going to be turned into a short-term rental, it really kind of was a blow to us because, this is where we live. This is, we spent $477,000 on our house. It's where we get in our pool. It's where we have people over. My family comes down, her family comes down and stays. And we live there full time. My wife works from home. So she's there pretty much all day, every day. I'm a school teacher out in Shelby County, so I drive out there every day. So since since we found out that it was going to be a short-term rental, it's really weighed on my wife and I. I know that we're not the only people in the neighborhood, but we are within literally 5 feet. We measured our decks that go right next to each other, or our staircases. I didn't email anybody anything, but this is just one of the photos that I have that just kind of shows how close our properties are. When they talked about it being a half property, when you guys put the sign, I assume it was you all that put the sign in our yard or in the yard to talk about this meeting. It was actually put in our yard as 905 West Riverside Drive. Because according to the owners of 905 and a half, the city doesn't recognize half addresses. So that was kind of a big concern for us. We also had concerns when it comes to how close we are, and then things being delivered to our house that weren't ours, like furniture. We've had to move over to their house. We've had, on several occasions, even DoorDash goes to the wrong house sometimes. But it's just kind of weighed on us mentally. We are, we're really close with our neighbors, and we're not very comfortable with having people in there every weekend or every week, different people. Even if they're great people, it's just still very strange to us. So at the meeting that we had in the neighborhood, there were voiced a lot of concerns. I don't know exactly how many. I wish I had the sheet that we signed in on, but I think there were 15 to 20 neighbors that went to the meeting at Skyler and Sarah's house. And I would say that everybody opposed this. and nobody wanted this in our neighborhood. There were concerns about another short-term rental that was across the street, up a little bit, that we've had a lot of problems with when people were staying there. And so that was just kind of, seeing what was going on there and then thinking about that happening next to us, it just kind of freaked us out. So that's kind of like my wife and I's big concern is, if you can see in the photographs, our house is the one with the pool, but you can see where their deck literally looks right over our backyard into our pool. And I know they talked about putting privacy screens up, but it's still very strange to think that there might be people out there while we're in the backyard or my wife's in the backyard, maybe laying out or in the pool, and people are just looking down on her. So proximity is a big thing for us. They're, how close they are. It's a confusing address. Who's to say that somebody might get that address and then show up at our house and try to start going up the stairs that are right next to their stairs, or try to go to our front door and put the code in. We do have people that rent in our neighborhood. The neighbor next to the Harts, they actually have been renting that property for a long time, and the people that have been in there have been long term, and they've been fantastic. When you guys talked about on the website where it talks about additional traffic or things like that, their driveway is pretty small. Our roads are very narrow. There's not a lot of room. If two cars are coming down the street, one's going to have to pull over to the side to let the other one come through. And so that's another concern we've had in the past. People come and park on our street and walk over to the Louisville Boat Club and play pickleball. And then when they park in our street, it's hard to get through. Delivery trucks can't get through and that sort of thing. So thinking that they could have up to 10 guests in that house is very concerning with the amount of cars that could be there. The other thing is just kind of safety. I know that they're talking about vetting people to come into these properties, and I'm sure that 99.9% of them are going to be great people. But it's that 0.1% that I'm like freaked out about, is what if somebody decides to jump the fence and get in our pool, or throw stuff over the deck area into our pool area. And that just scares me. Not saying that could ever happen, but crazier things have happened. So those are some concerns of ours. The other thing is, I'll just kind of leave it at this. For my wife and I, we just, like I said, this is like our dream home. This is where we live. We paid a lot of money for it. And we oppose this. We don't want short-term rental next to us. And I just hope that you guys can kind of put yourselves in our shoes and think about if this was happening right next door to you. So thank you.
Questions, members for Mr. Hobbs? Thank you.
I just had a question. Have there been any issues since they've owned the home? Have there been any concerns that have come up?
Well, they haven't rented it yet, so that's good. But we've had a lot of deliveries to our house, like furniture and things like that. When they first bought the house, I think it was over a month before they mowed the grass. So that was kind of concerning that, they bought it and it took them a long time just to mow the grass. That's kind of about it right now so far. But they were moving things in one day and blocked our driveway, the moving truck or whatever it was there, the delivery truck. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other speaker cards for this case. Online? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The first is Lynette Snyder. Then after her, she didn't enter her last name, is Jane I'll bring them both to the panel now, but Lynette can go first.
Snyder, did you say Snyder? Ms. Snyder, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, I was muted. I apologize.
No worries. No.
Yes, my name is Lynette Schneider, and I am the past president of the Homeowners Association in the Riviera community. And just like David said, we are a very small.
Ma'am, could you give me your address, please?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I am at 935 Riverside Drive, Louisville 40207.
Okay. And would you raise your right hand so that I can
Oh,
swear
yes.
you in? Can you are you able to turn your camera on?
I don't know. Let me see.
If you cannot, we'll proceed with it.
Allow while visiting this site. Bear with me. I think it's blinking.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Oh, there I am. Yeah, I'm so sorry.
all right.
My name is Lynette Schneider, and I'm the Oh, I forgot. Sorry.
You swear the testimony you're about to give today is the truth, Ms. Schneider.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and you're speaking in opposition, is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, please proceed.
I am actually trying to call in about this because we met with this couple about 2 months ago or so, and we had quite a few people at the meeting. I would say 15, maybe something like that. And everybody at the meeting was opposed to this. We have had some problems in the past. I am the past president. I was president for 5 years and then not president for about 3 to 4. And then I was president again for 4 to 5 years. So I have taken a lot of calls from people that have been displeased with a couple of short-term rentals in our neighborhood. We had one that was very questionable because she had a lot of visitors, and that home is no longer here. MSD took it, which we're all happy about. We do have some other ones that I have personally gotten some complaints about noise, and we do like having Airbnbs if the homeowner is living there. And we don't have a problem. Generally, we don't have a problem with that. But it's my experience in talking to other neighbors over the last 5 years that most people don't want it. They don't want it unless it's an owner that lives in the property and is gone for a few days and then back. And David Hobbs was correct. I complained about the grass. They purchased the house and the grass was almost knee deep. I called 311 and then it was taken care of shortly after that. We have not had any problem with them since then, but they're not living in the home. So that is just my personal opinion. And a few of the other people that I have talked to in the neighborhood, this was a long day. I could not be down there. I'm sorry, I'm at work. And that's all I have to say right now.
Okay, members, any questions?
But as far as additional short-term rentals that have caused problems, are there other registered short-term rentals that you know of that would be near, like within the 600-foot rule?
We have a short-term rental that is someone does live in the home. There is one that is actually vacant right now, and I have talked to them, and they have not decided what to do. They do not live at the property, and as David Hobbs mentioned, there was a lot of problem with them. And that the street that David lives on is there's very little room between the properties. I mean, maybe 5-6 feet, something like that. His neighborhood has a lot of homes on his street, excuse me. And it's There is not a lot of parking, and people do not like people to necessarily park overnight in the street. The street is a narrow street. It's not a wide street. And as he said, the gentleman said that there were enough for 5 places. I don't think it's on his driveway. I would say maybe 4, but we really don't want a lot of traffic parked on the street. As I say, it's a narrow street, and it can be very difficult to get around.
Thank you.
Hey, ma'am, you mentioned problems with other short-term rentals in the area. Don't know if you've seen a copy of the staff report, but if there are 2 or more civil or criminal complaints within a 12-month period, you're aware that the registration can be revoked, right?
Are you
aware?
asking them or me? I'm sorry.
No, asking you, ma'am.
Oh, asking me. No, I'm not aware of that. We just have had some noise problems, and people have called me about the noise in the past. I'm not president any longer, but I still get calls. I'm sorry. I haven't had any calls about that later, but I have experienced noise like in the evenings when people are partying, around Derby, Thunder over Louisville, the Bourbon, not the Bourbon Trail, but the Bourbon music thing that happens. And we can hear that music. And as I say, we only have 3 streets in here. And you can hear just about anything. People can hear me when I'm calling my dogs,
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that provision in the ordinance.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Is there someone else online? All right.
Jane, whenever you're ready. There you are.
Hi, sorry, I don't know
Hi.
if my camera does this.
That's all right. Give me your name and address, please.
Jane Hale, 908 West Riverside Drive.
Okay. Ms. Hale, are you speaking in support, neutral, or opposition?
Opposition.
All right. Would you keep your right hand raised? You swear the testimony you're about to give me is the truth.
I do, I swear.
All right. Please proceed.
Seconding what Lynette spoke to in regards to parking, the driveway itself is very narrow and would maybe fit for Camrys, but certainly not multiple vans, trucks, large SUVs. And there's really nowhere else for them to park if not the driveway. So anything beyond 2 cars is going to end up overflow in our street. And as Lynette mentioned, our street is very narrow. Across the street from the Harts is an empty lot that I also own besides my residence. And we've seen it in the past, other rentals, when they have overflow, they think they can just park anywhere. We're in the floodplain, so I definitely don't want my flooded yard having extra cars in it. It's not safe for anybody. So that's just my primary option besides what's already been mentioned here today.
Okay. Thank you. Those are the only speaker cards that I have. So Mr. Hart, Ms. Hart, you have usually only one person's allowed to speak in rebuttal. So
So I will first, just because my husband has a picture up here, I'll first mention the grass. We actually took a picture the day that we did mow the grass, and
May I approach the board with this image?
You can email it
Okay.
to one of our staff members.
I'll give you a card after, but if you want to bring it up and show everyone really quickly.
Sure.
so as my husband will show you, it was not even above my shoes. And we had no problem. So I will say this, we have a landscaper who lives next door to us at our primary residence, and he has always told us to mow at the highest setting because it's better for the grass, so that's what we're used to. And that's no problem that it seems like they mow a little bit shorter in this neighborhood, so the day that it was brought to our attention, we mowed, I think, the next day. I was not aware of a call made about the grass, but they did mention that at the neighborhood meeting, so we said no problem, and I want to say it was the next day that we went ahead and mowed, and as you saw, it was not even close to knee length. It was not very long at all. The other thing I'll say as far as the address and the sign being placed in the wrong yard, we did speak to Jude about it and just made sure, but our understanding was that was a function of just the way that the property was listed in the government website. You know, we are not a government website, we're people, and we will speak to every single guest. And like we've said earlier, make sure that we have gone over exactly where the home is to look for the, you know, the large numbering and make sure that they are going to the correct place. We also have exterior cameras, so we typically keep an eye on our properties as people are checking in just to make sure everything is the way it should be. Our home in Gatlinburg actually shares a driveway with the house next door, so you can imagine there would be a lot of potential for issues with the wrong house, and that's not something that we have happened. As Skyler said, we did get a letter of recommendation from those neighbors that we share a driveway with, and that's just because we're very on top of it with our guests. We make sure to explain to them, you share a driveway, you're not going to this house, you're going to this house. And that is a discussion we would have with our guests here as well in regards to the confusion with the address.
Regarding the parking, sorry.
So regarding the parking, I know one person made a comment that there's nowhere to park but the driveway. We do have a garage, and we have fit 4 vehicles comfortably in the driveway. It's correct that if it was for, you know, extended cab trucks, that might be a little trickier. But we are in control of our own listing and our own house rules, and we can set vehicle maximums and we can set rules that say no street parking, and we have no problem doing that. With our property in Gatlinburg, parking is an issue there. We can only have a maximum of 2 cars, and that's something that we have to stay on top of every single time with every single guest, because we are on the mountain. There are no more narrow and windy roads than what you'd see at our Gatlinburg place. So we have no problem setting rules to make sure that there is no parking in the street, or enforcing that. And then as far as the neighborhood meeting goes, it's definitely true that there was a large turnout and there were a lot of people speaking in opposition. I will say that there were several who spoke to us at the end after most people who left, who kind of had a little bit more support and kind words to say. I think that in that kind of setting, it's very hard to speak over the loudest voices and the angrier voices, and I don't think that a lot of people maybe would feel comfortable speaking up in that setting. I wish that they would have, but we did have some folks speak to us afterwards, and another neighbor who I don't recall her name actually stopped my husband a few days, maybe a week ago, and spoke to him out front of the house and just said, you know, I don't think there's any problem with what you're doing, and, you know, I'm in support of you guys. We did mention hopefully coming today, but I guess was not able to. But I don't feel that it is 100% opposition. I just think that it's a lot easier to be louder about that than it is to speak in support of something that doesn't seem popular by the louder people in the room. Yeah, and then the concerns that were raised in that neighborhood meeting, we did address all of those, which is contained in the documentation that you all have. Oh, and then as far as deliveries go, I was not aware that the neighbor had received some deliveries. We did have a neighbor 2 doors down who let us know one time, and we went over there immediately and moved it. But I will just say that we're furnishing a house. The house was completely empty when we bought it. We had to buy every single scrap of furniture along the way. So there are a lot of deliveries right now. And, you know, I apologize to the Hobbs if that's ever an inconvenience for them. But typically, there would not be very many deliveries to a short-term rental. We don't get deliveries at our other property. Our guests are not permitted to get deliveries at the property. So I don't think that that will be as much of an issue moving forward. The last thing I would say is just that I do understand that they've had problems with past owners. And all I can speak to on that is that we are not those owners. We live 20 minutes away. We're good people. We want to have good relationships. You know, it is in our best interest to have a successful rental business with good guests who don't cause problems. We have a lot of money invested in this, and this is our future and our children's future. This is the business that allows me to stay home and take care of my kids. And so it is in our best interest to make sure that that runs smoothly without issues. And as I've said, we're prepared to do whatever we need to do to make sure that happens.
So where is the lattice work that you mentioned? that you
So
installed?
it will be, thank you for bringing that up. It's going to be on the corner of the home that faces the Hobbs's pool. I will note that while, yes, our deck could look down into their pool, there are houses surrounding all of our houses that could all look down into the pool. Us having a short-term rental does not increase that exposure. We are actually trying to do something to give her more privacy by installing the lattice along the right side of the deck. And then I think my husband said it's 32 feet total that he's going to have between the two decks. Our hope is to make it so that you can't really see over into their pool at all. And then they wouldn't be able to see up into our deck as well. So hopefully it will kind of add that degree of separation.
And that lattice is already installed?
No, ma'am.
It's planned?
Yes, ma'am. He's already,
Intend to do
Materials are
that?
at the home.
yes, he's already purchased everything to do that. We just are in the process.
I think that's all the questions I had. Members, anything further for the Harts?
Member Vozos, do you guys say noise meters that you're installing?
Yes,
So
we
how
will
does
be-
that work, and like what are the rules and what are the parameters, consequences, et cetera?
We bought the Minute system, which is one of just a few systems that will integrate with Airbnb. So it records noise. It does other things like it monitors the number of devices that are connected to your Wi-Fi. So it does a few different things that try to detect when something problematic might be happening at your property. So we're going to place that outside on the deck so that on the side of the house, kind of closer to where the Hobbs live, so that it's like the closest point of contact if there's a problem. And then if something does come up on there, we get notifications, but it can also be set up to automatically message the guest on Airbnb. So like if something happens at 3 a.m., we're going to get notifications, but even if it doesn't wake us up, we can have it set to message the guest and say, hey, we've detected this level of noise out there. You guys got to keep it down type thing.
Is there like a consequence, like 3 strikes you're out or something like that, or?
I mean, in general, with all of my guests, if the rules are broken, I'm kind of I'll reach out and I'll give a little grace with one warning, but after that, I don't have a problem evicting. And I have evicted before if I felt that rules were being broken. And again, with us being 20 minutes away, I feel like we have the ability to do that quickly and easily, and our guests know that we're.
Noise.
Noise detector.
On strike, that's on.
Yeah, please continue.
I think that's about it, that yes, the consequence would be we would probably speak to them first, and if it continues, then we would evict.
Okay, so one warning and then.
I would say too, it depends on the severity of what's going on. We can open up our cameras at any time and hear what's being said nearby. So if they're out on the deck, being noisy, there's a camera right below the deck. We could hear, if somebody's out there doing something really wild and outlandish, it may be a no strikes type policy. So it depends on what's going on. But like everybody else, but hey, we go to the house, we want to relax and have a good time and hang out. So within reason and without disturbing our neighbors type thing. So.
Okay, thanks.
I got a
Yes.
question.
Yes.
You said there's a garage with
Yes,
this
ma'am.
house. Can you
Yes, ma'am.
put 2 cars in that garage?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, we've
And-
done so.
And like my wife mentioned earlier, if they had 4 extended like you could fit a giant vehicle in the garage. It's a very long garage.
And that garage will be available to them?
Yes. ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Right. So I'll close the public hearing. We will move into deliberations on a
Madam Chair.
short-term rental.
I'm not recommending that you reopen it, but we did have a request come online after rebuttal began. The policies would not typically permit them to speak. So, but it's your decision.
We were in rebuttal, so, yeah. Now we are in deliberations on 25 CUP 0014, short-term rental at 905 and half West Riverside Drive. We've heard quite a bit today in testimony. Got a copy of the staff report. Heard the concerns and the rebuttal. Is there anything that any of the members want to bring up for consideration? Yes.
So this issue arises, this is really for the benefit of those that are listening and participating. This issue arises occasionally and in some cases more frequently where notwithstanding all of the other technical requirements, land development code, et cetera, the review by the staff, the standards of review, the one large conspicuous concern about a short-term rental is in fact the neighborhood opposition. So the question that we will wrestle with is, notwithstanding all of the technical compliance, indications of compliance with requirements, is the material consideration the one that's going to make the difference, the degree to which, the severity which there is neighborhood opposition. And that is something that this body has to consider as we deliberate and make a decision.
I'm just going to add one clarifying thing to that. It's typically, at the end of the day, when we get into neighborhood opposition, we get more into compatibility with the neighborhood, which is an actual standard. So it's not if you get enough people who are opposed. At the end of the day, it's still grounded in the standard of review and staff analysis, but where opposition tends to come more into play is based on the information being provided, can you deviate from the staff report about findings about compatibility?
Could I ask a question of staff? I apologize. I should have done this earlier, but are there any other registered short-term rentals, non-owner occupied in this 3 Riverside Drive, all the Riverside Drives?
So we looked on the map. There are 2 owner-occupied registrations within these 3 streets, but there is no other conditional use permit or non-owner occupied short-term rental.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Mr. Beta, did the clarification from council assist? Okay. Right. Any other discussion? Is anyone ready to proceed with a motion? Yes.
Yes. So as regard case number 25 CUP 0014 pertaining to short-term rental at 905 and a half West Riverside Drive, the request is for a conditional use permit to allow short-term rental of a dwelling unit that is not the primary residence of the owner. And I would move that we approve that request, subject to conditions of approval on page 7 of 7, based on the standards of review, the staff report, and the discussion and testimony that we've taken today.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve 25 CUP 0014. Roll call, please.
Ford,
No.
Beta,
Yes.
Osos,
Yes.
Luis,
Yes.
Pond.
Yes, the CUP has been approved. That was the last item on the agenda for today. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Let's just sit here quietly and see if we do. See how long we can just sit here quiet.